Hello and welcome to this Overcoming the Fear of Being Judged. Oh my gosh. I think all of us as human beings have struggled with this, or we do struggle with this. So I'm excited to talk about this topic and why do we struggle with this? Why is this so common? And at the end of this video, I'm going to share with you the solution of what you can do to overcome this. So if you are new here, my name is Arica Angelo. I've been giving dating and relationship advice for 14 years now. I'm currently in Houston, Texas, visiting my family, getting my French visa. Very excited about that. Ooh la 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 la. And so I'm very excited to have you here. If you've been a part of my live community, I told you guys that I am with these lives that I'm giving you guys special promos because it means a lot to me that you guys show up in a live video like this. You know, you have plenty of things that you can be doing with your time. And the mere fact that you show up to grow and, you know, take your life to the next level, I deeply respect that and I deeply honor that. And so what I've been doing with these lives is offering you guys special promotions for anyone who's part of my live community. And so let me tell you really quick about the special promotion that I am running for this live. So you would have to email me, and my email, I'm going to put it right here. Let me just send that through and let me pen this. Pen message. Okay, it's penned. So there's my email. So here is the offer. Do you want to hear what the offer is? Are you excited? Are you ready? So anybody who signs up and gets my Emotional Warrior program will get, as a bonus, free 2 30-minute sessions with me. And I will email you the details on when you get to do those sessions. You will do it right away. So your first session is right away. And then I will coordinate with you regarding your second session with me. So that is my promo for this video. And Overcoming the Fear of Being Judged, you're going to email me at that email address that I shared with you. And I will send you the link to my Emotional Warrior program and an email saying that you will get 2 free sessions with me, 2 free 30-minute sessions with me as a result of getting that program. I am so excited for those of you who've been wanting to do this program for a long time, and this is just the incentive to get you started and also to be able to work with me one-on-one. So I'm really excited to offer that to you guys. I look forward to all of you who take advantage of that opportunity. Exciting things to come. So let me just show up in the chat here. Brandon, how are you? Brandon is one of my emotional warriors. Thomas is also one of my emotional warriors. Hi, Thomas. I'm glad you're here, babe. Good evening. Derek says, hello from California. You are a cute ray of sunshine. Glad to see you back here in the U.S. Thank you, darling. It's so good to be in the U.S. I always feel safe when I come here, even despite everything that's going on. Like, something about our country just makes me feel safe. I think anybody feels that when they return to their country. Or most people do. Hi, Juan. I'm so glad you're here. Alex, so glad you're here. He says you've been working hard on yourself because your hobby's working, and I have been. Oh, awesome. Congratulations. I'm glad you're here, darling. Antonio, I am doing so well. Sean. Hi, Sean. I just got some time with Sean, which I was super grateful for. Sean is so special, and also another one of my emotional warriors. So all these guys have done my Emotional Warrior program. You guys will have to tell in the chat like what you think of the Emotional Warrior program for all of those who are going to sign up for it. Cayman, hey, from Northern Carolina. Glad to have you here. So why do we all struggle with the fear of being judged? And as I said, at the end of this video, I'm going to talk about how you overcome that. When we talk about the fear of being judged, it typically is, I don't really want to be myself because if I'm myself, then people are going to criticize me. They're going to make fun of me. They're going to think I'm a weirdo. I don't want to say what I'm really thinking or what I want to be or what I want to say because, if people really knew how I felt about things, maybe they wouldn't like me anymore. Maybe they would think that I'm weird. We have really a lot of reasons, why we allow the fear of being judged hold us back. So for a single guy, it's, I'm not going to go up and talk to that one woman I really want to talk to. Let me just make it practical for you guys. That I really want to talk to because, I don't want her to think, I don't want her to see that I'm insecure. I don't want her to see my lack of confidence. I don't want her to think that I'm a weirdo. So I'm not going to ever talk to the woman that I really want to talk to. In a relationship, I'm not going to tell my partner that them, or maybe, yeah, you're in a relationship with someone and your partner's on their phone all the time. I'm just not going to bring that up with my partner. I don't want to rock the boat. I want to keep the peace. So I don't want them to think that I'm insecure and that I'm watching every move that they make. So I don't want them to judge me this way. So I'm just going to let it go. You see that when we are struggling with the fear of being judged, that essentially what we're doing is holding ourselves back. Every time that we don't show up and we don't say what we want to say, we are not who we really are because we're afraid of people judging us. But every time we hold ourselves back. Hey, Yo Williams. Hi, G-Sun. From Europe, it's 1 a.m. there. I am glad to follow your live stream instead of sleeping. Why don't you want to sleep, my darling? I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being here. It means a lot. Alec, yeah, Alex says, I feel this way a lot. And so what happens is when we struggle with this fear of being judged, essentially what we are doing is we are handing over the keys of our freedom to other people. We are handing over the keys of our identity and all things that make us feel good and confident about ourselves. We are handing over the keys to other people and just saying, you get to be in charge of how I feel about myself. You get to be in charge in how I show up in this world. You get to be in charge of when I don't get to use my voice. You're essentially giving other people a ton of power. You're giving them a ton of you. And when you give them a ton of you, what you're not doing is giving back to yourself. And you can't give out of an empty vessel. It just doesn't work that way. And so when we constantly hand over our rights, we hand over what we believe, what we feel is true, because we're afraid someone's going to judge us. Essentially, we are giving pieces away of ourselves, one piece, one crumb at a time. And then we feel the loss of that. We feel the heaviness of that, when we are constantly worried about people judging us, we never get seen by anybody. No one ever knows the real us because we're not showing up, because we're so afraid we're going to be judged. Sean says, take advantage of Arica's offer. The Emotional Warrior Program is fantastic. Also, Arica is incredibly perceptive. The one-on-one coaching will really help facilitate the program. Thank you so much, Sean. That means the world to me. Thank you. One of my emotional warriors out of his very mouth. Yo, Williams, what's shaking, bacon? I love that. So I want to read to you guys this Instagram post I did. It's actually gotten a lot of likes. So I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but I'm the Arica Angelo. Let's see if I can show this without my lighting. Oh man, it's really just. So it's really pretty. You can see a guy pushing it. And I want you to listen to this. Really take this in. If you want to close your eyes as I'm saying this to you, this might be, it's playing music. And then YouTube's going to be like, you can't play music on here. So let me just turn that volume down. I want you to listen to this. Keep your eyes closed and listen to my words. This is talking about the fear of being judged, right? When we don't show up in the world. So I say this on my Instagram. which make sure that you follow me, the Arica Angelo. Arica's with an A. There's no E in there. Just because you're different doesn't mean you're wrong. My Instagram's not coming up for you, Thomas. Your unique perspective, your words that speak your truth, your wild way of showing up in this world, all of this is what makes you stand out from the crowd. Be the real you. And I wrote in the text, I said, being the real you takes courage. Now, pay attention to this. Those of you who really struggle with the fear of being judged, I want you to listen to this closely, and I want you to allow these words to sink into your heart. Listen to this. Pay attention. It's easy to blend in because you'll know in some regards you'll be accepted. But people are drawn to realness, uniqueness, and those who stand out. When you camouflage who you are, you can't blame the world for not accepting you because the real you has never shown up. Allow people to love the real you by choosing to be you. It's really powerful words written by yours truly. So when we are constantly overwhelmed with the fear of being judged, we are constantly holding ourselves back. We're constantly not showing up in the world as our full selves. It just doesn't happen. And so we go through life feeling very alone. We feel very resentful. We feel betrayed by others. It's like, why aren't they accepting me? Why doesn't anybody love me? Why doesn't anyone see me? And it's like, because you're so afraid of being judged, you are holding yourself back. And so you're presenting yourself in a way that's very likable. This is where a lot of nice guys and nice people show up, which as I've shared with you guys, typically I don't find nice people actually very nice. I find nice people very manipulative and deceitful because they are not being themselves. They're constantly hiding who they are. So they're not actually very nice. So when you are not showing up as yourself and you're just trying to blend in, you're trying to make everybody happy. When people reject you, just know that they're not rejecting you. They're rejecting this image that you're presenting that's not really you. And people can feel it, right? You can feel when there's a lack of congruency. Because it's like, they're saying all the right things, but I don't feel this person. I don't resonate with what they're saying. There's no substance to it. There's no truth to it. And so I'm going to share with you why we all struggle with this. Like, we need to know why. I can't just say, just do this. This is what's going to change it. Like, sometimes we will, even when we have the answer, we'll continue to make the same error over and over and over again if we don't know the why. Hirovi says, it's 1:12 a.m. in Croatia, but I don't care because your lives are important to watch. Oh, that means the world to me. I'm so grateful you're here. And Croatia is really high on my list. I really want to come visit. Cayman says, in my late teens and early 20s, I had a hard time for being myself. Now I don't care if people do or don't like me. G-Sun says, well, maybe we don't show to all about our real self. It's just to everyone, but maybe a group of people who are willing to accept the real us. Is that the case? Maher Justice says, hope you made some popcorn while watching at 1:12 a.m. Actually, that sounds like a really good idea. So let me explain to you why a lot of us struggle with this. Because, you know, when I speak from this, I'm speaking from an American Western culture. But like, you know, with American Western culture, it's, you know, as soon as you get to school, if you don't learn the way that other kids learn, you get judged. They put you in different classes. The teachers become impatient with you, and you feel that sense of judgment. If you don't get a subject like everyone else and you suck at it, you get failed, you get judged. A lot of you guys know about my own story. I talk about it a lot in my emotional warrior program. So make sure you get that offer. But I talk about my emotional warrior program. Like, I came from a really religious upbringing. There's tons of judgment in there. Whew, you don't do this, if you don't do that, if you celebrate this, if you say this, it's just laced with not all people who grow up with spiritual upbringings have that experience. But mine was filled with judgment. You're gonna be judged for everything. And so we look at a lot of our life, and a lot of our culture is set up to judge us. You look in magazines, whether you're a woman or whether you're a man, men are inundated with make more money, push harder, grind, hustle. And if you don't, then you're not a success. A woman, be skinny, be tan, get that fake butt, do whatever you need to do. And if you don't, then you're judged. You're not beautiful. Men won't desire you. If you're not successful, women won't want to sleep with you. They won't respect you. And so we're set up to be judged a lot. So we have to go, well, no wonder why people have this fear of being judged, because it's a legitimate fear. Like, let's not pretend like that's not there. Let's not pretend like there's not real reason to be concerned with it. But we all are at least conscious enough to know that if we continue to live this way, that we die a slow death, that we're not actually going to get to live as long as we're bombarded by this fear. That fear of being judged eradicates our self-confidence. It eradicates our self-worth. It eradicates our self-value. And so understanding, like, okay, maybe I come from a culture that is set up to judge me so that I can be controlled, so that I'll perform whatever the case, so that I'll buy more stuff, because marketers will tell you all the things that you don't have so that they convince you that their product is what you need to have. And I know that most people, typically they're not going to buy unless they're afraid of something. Most people aren't going to buy products, even online courses like my own. You're not going to buy it because you just want to become better. Most people who buy my courses is because they're in pain and they're afraid that their lives are always going to stay that way. And it's like, ow, out of pain we buy. But that's another conditioning. We've been conditioned to get to a place of pain and then we make the change. So maybe that's why you're watching this video right now. Maybe you're in a place of pain where you're like, yeah, I've been, stumped in my life because I'm so afraid of being judged by people. And it's really taking a toll on my life. It's taking a toll on my mental health. It's taking a toll on how I feel about myself. It's taking a toll on how I perform at work or how I don't perform at work. It affects how I interact with the opposite sex. Like, there are real consequences to this when we live in a perpetual state of fear of being judged. It comes with real ramifications, real consequences. It takes a real toll on a person's life. And so it's paramount that we come out of this, that we find a solution to navigate through this. And I don't believe that it's a light switch. Like, I just want to encourage you with this. I don't believe this is a light switch change. Like, when I give you the answer in this video, I don't think that just because I give you that answer that things just change. I think that this is something that we have to work through because it's a conditioning that we've been set up to live by all of our lives. So just having the answer isn't enough. Applying the answer is where the actual integration, where the actual change, where the actual freedom occurs. So I just want to read what you guys are saying. He says, no popcorn, only in bed watching Arica's live. I'm so glad to have you here, babe. Antonio says, I'm okay, just hurt my left knee because I was lifting my shopping cart yesterday when I went to the free movie in Bryant Park yesterday, seeing Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Hope you had a happy 4th. Well, it sounds like you had a fun time. I missed out on the fireworks. Can you guys believe that? I was like, it's one thing I wanted to do, and I just got too tired. I went to the pool, I worked out, and I was like, I'm done. Thomas just had popcorn. Alex says, let me open up deeper. When I was in high school, I would eat lunch in the bathrooms. I would get really sad and cry all day. Wow, Alex, thank you. You would get bullied in high school. I am so Sorry. They would call you names that still stay in your head from today, from back then. I'm so sorry you had that experience. That's pretty, that takes a toll. It takes a toll. Novar says, I love your energy. You're adorable. Thank you. Thomas says, I just sometimes put a filter on myself. Now, as I'm older, it doesn't affect me as much. If you're not paying my bills or writing my checks, then please leave me alone. Derek says, I have learned to just be myself. If you don't like what you see, please don't waste my time. I can talk to someone else better. Thomas Spatel says, what? No fireworks? Yeah, I know. I was hoping that they would shine over my Airbnb, and they didn't. So yeah, when you've had an experience like Alec, where you've been bullied, like, of course, you're going to live in a lot of fear of being judged. Like, sometimes I think, when we talk about stuff like this, like, we have to legitimize people's experiences and pain, because I don't think you can ever heal and move on unless someone actually validates, like, your journey. I think that notion of just get on with it, I personally don't see where that works. I don't see where it's worked for my clients. I don't see where it works for me personally. I think having someone validate our pain in terms of when we've been judged consistently in our life, or we've had a traumatic situation like Alec, where to the point where he's confined to a bathroom to have lunch, like, in those moments, we have to be validated, right? So some people have had severe cases of intense, brutal rejection. And sometimes we just need someone to say, like, hey, that experience, like what those people did was not okay. And you never deserve to have that experience. And I am so sorry. I'm so sorry you had to feel that hurt. I'm so sorry that you had to feel that rejection. I'm so sorry you had to feel that constant sense of shame, like you were not worth it, like you didn't matter, that your life didn't have value. We need to hear those words. We've got to hear those words, because just moving on and just letting go is mechanics. But there are aspects of our heart that need to be validated to say, hey, what you went through was not okay. What people did to you was not okay. That should have never occurred. And sometimes just hearing someone speak that compassion, speak that truth, speak that sense of justice in our life in itself begins to liberate our heart, so that we can create new experiences, so that we can come out of fear and self-preservation, so that we can stop manipulating people and pretending to be something that we're not, so that we can liberate ourselves, so that we can truly value ourselves. Oh, Alec, that touches me. He says, I'm crying right now. Yes, please let those words sink in. And if you have to come back to this video and watch this again just to hear those words, you listen to this part where I say that over and over again. You allow yourself to cry and you allow yourself to grieve, babe, because maybe that's what you need to do. And I know you've shared before that you felt, anxiety a lot. And now that I hear this part of your story, Alec, of course you do. Of course you do when you have that sort of experience. And so sometimes anxiety is, suppressed emotions that just need an outlet. And sometimes what we need to do is just grieve. And so if you need to listen to my words, just keep hitting replay on that section and allow your body to just grieve it out, to purge it out with those tears. Tears are so healthy. When we cry, we know we're living. When we experience joy, we know we're living. Emotions are healthy. I'm sorry I'm saying your name wrong. I'll call you Stokic. I've never been bullied because my home city is too small, and back then it was normal for us kids to play outside and worrying about nothing. That's nice. I love that you had that. You said there were no smartphones, PCs, no Facebook and Instagram. Life was easier to live. Derek says, let it out, Alec. When the pain is released, you will become a stronger, better man. I completely agree. Sometimes we just need to let that pain pour out. So guys, sometimes there is, and I just really want to speak into that sometimes for some of us, we've had legitimate reasons of being fearful of being judged. And even when you hear my words saying, you're giving that person power. You're like, I know that, Eric, I know, but I still can't seem to come out of it. And sometimes we just need that compassion of someone saying like, hey, it wasn't okay. Like your experience, what people did, that wasn't okay. And that you were really valuable all along. And that these people were just hurting within themselves. They were being malicious within themselves. And they released it on you because you were cowardly to feel their emotions. So they let their hurt plummet on you. And that wasn't okay. Brandon says, the Emotional Warrior Program helped me open up myself in such an easy way. I used to walk around the campus at London High School with no friends. Oh, I love hearing that. I love that. I'm so proud of you, Brandon. Antonio says, I felt like that at the free movie yesterday when a woman tried to have an argument with me and she said she wanted to scratch my eyes out. I just defeated her by not giving her the power to hurt me. Whoa, that's intense. I can't believe someone said that to you. That's really intense. That's where you just walk away and go, whoo, take your meds, release your demons, do what you got to do, but just don't do it to me. So what do we do to overcome this? You know, the more, and this is the answer to this, and this is the simple thing to say, but a committed journey to walk out. Essentially, if you can understand this, that the fear of being judged is essentially handing over your value to someone else. How I feel about myself, how I see myself, how I show up in the world, I'm giving you all that value. You get to tell me whether I'm valuable. You get to tell me whether I'm lovable. You get to tell me whether I'm accepted. That's essentially what we're doing. We're placing all the keys and the power of value, we're placing it into their hands. So how do we get out of this? The way we walk out of this is we start to value ourselves. And that's where it becomes very simple words, but it takes a lot of intention to walk through, which is valuing yourself. What does that look like? Okay, right now, someone's saying something and I have a different opinion to this. And so I'm going to value myself enough to say how I feel. I'm going to value myself enough to express what my heart is going through in this situation. You know, in relationships, I think sometimes most of us don't want to rock the boat. We want to keep the peace. And so there may be things that are hurting us and we just stay quiet because we want to keep the peace. And sometimes we need to rock the boat to value ourselves and say, I'm not okay with this. This is hurting me. And I got to say something because I value myself. Every time that you stand up and you use your voice, you need to understand that that is you saying, hey, I have value. Hey, I matter in this world. My thoughts, they matter. My opinion matters. My desire matters. My perspective matters. And I'm going to share that. I'm going to show up and I'm going to say that because I have value, that my life has meaning here on this earth. I have a purpose to live. And I cannot go about living my life as a mouse trying to make everybody else happy. I can't do it to myself anymore. And sometimes we just need to draw that line in the sand and say, I am going to start standing up for myself. I'm going to start using my voice. And the hard thing is going, okay, and if they reject me or if they push me away or if it's too much for them, then good riddance. Bye. I think that, you know, when you come from control, wow, I just spit. Did you guys see that? These invisible braces, they just, yeah. I'm not even going to try to play that off. It literally just flew out of my mouth. When we come from abusive backgrounds, controlling backgrounds, over-religious backgrounds, backgrounds where people have bullied us, you know, we get conditioned that because this environment is the only environment we've had to be accepted and be loved, that is what love is. And as you grow out of these environments, you start realizing this isn't love. But the execution of that is super challenging when you have to tell people that you thought were your community, that you leaned on for love. Hey, this stuff is not working for me. I'm not participating in this. I'm moving on. I'm not going to continue to show up making you all happy. They'll either say, okay, we love you for you, so you be you, and we're going to love you for you. Or they may say, you're wrong, and we can't accept that. Off you go. And that's the hard part. The hard part is willing to be able to let go of situations and people, communities that really aren't loving us from the get-go. And when you lose them, in hindsight, the reality is you're actually not losing much, because you're not losing love because they actually weren't loving you. You don't actually have community. You have a pretense of community that is laced with lots of conditioning, which is not community. It's not full acceptance. And so that becomes a hard part, is sometimes you go on a journey and you are alone on that journey. And you find comfort in being with yourself. And as you become comfortable with being with yourself, the right people start coming into your path. I'm just going to read what you guys are saying. Stokic says, and now discovering YouTube, internet, and all rock and roll metal on YouTube. In 2002, there wasn't YouTube and installing football with friends in the same street. Alex says, I think I need help, Arica. Yes, my darling. Yes. Thomas says, the Emotional Warrior program has made me stronger, but also allowed me to open up to people, especially my new friend. I love that. Love that, Thomas. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. I want to know about this new friend. Brandon says, yes. Blair, hey, Arica, how are you doing? I'm doing really good, darling. How are you? Antonio says, I love you, Arica. Much love to you too. Thank you for listening to what I said. I'm glad you're here. Oh, thank you for being here, darling. I'm grateful for you. Stokic says, Arica, I have a typical Croatian name. Don't worry about it because I don't know either how to say my own name in English. Well, that makes me feel better. Meher Justice says, Arica, why do young stranger girls, teen and younger, show kindness, smile, and wave to me, but older and adult stranger women make me seem like I'm not attractive enough to look at nor smile? Well, that is very interesting. That's a very interesting experience. I mean, from your picture, you look very handsome. I can see your face. I can see a side angle. So you look very handsome. So just with the small tidbit that I have right here, women can be intimidated by men as well. Just so you guys know, I know that that men always think that like, oh, women have all the power. We're intimidated. Women get intimidated by men too. So if they're not smiling at you, they probably think, if you're a good looking guy, they're like, oh, he's good looking. He's probably conceited and he gets this all the time. I'm not going to give him that. Or they're intimidated by you. That could be a legitimate thing that's going on for you. So when we are overcoming the fear of judgment, we are essentially establishing value back to ourselves. That we are not placing our value in the hands of others, in the hands of strangers, in the hands of false community, in the hands of the opposite sex. When we start valuing ourselves, we start moving forward with the things that matter to us. We start saying the things that matter to us. We put more focus on the value that we have for ourselves. And we take the focus off of needing the approval from others. So when I say, how do you overcome the fear of being judged? What I'm encouraging you to do is to begin to shift your focus on where you will place value. Because if you're constantly fear of being judged, then you're constantly fearing if the people around you value you, which means if that is your focus, you're not focusing on how you value and see yourself and how you show up for yourself. And I really encourage you, if with my emotional warrior program, thank you all of you guys who have gone through my emotional warrior program. If, like I said, if you're part of this live and you've been wanting to do that program for this live video, because I'm running specials for each live that I do. For this one, if you send me an email, and I pinned it at the top there, if you send me an email and you get that program, you will get 2 free 30-minute sessions with me. And the first one will start immediately before you start the program. And then I'll communicate with you via email of when you get your second session. But I highly encourage you, like if this is resonating with you, that this program is going to walk you through reevaluating how you feel about yourself and giving yourself the power and the keys to liberate yourself, to give yourself the freedom to value you. So Mahara says, oh, geez, thank you. You actually made me blush. Oh, good point. But in this case, it makes it hard for me to approach them if I want to speak with them. It's always, if you're in that situation where they're just purposely looking the other way, a compliment goes a long way. Or even saying something cheeky and funny, like, I'm off the cuff right now, so I can't think, I'm not in that mode. But just throwing out a little joke like, did you wear those shoes for me today? I really like those shoes. I feel like you're wearing those because you knew I would like them, right? Or, just saying something funny just to start a conversation and going, what? It's just creating some sense of like, okay, look, let's bring our guards down. Like, you're attractive, I'm attractive. Let's have a conversation. I'd like to get to know you. So guys, here's the thing. If you have really struggled with the fear of being judged, ultimately what this boils down to is a fear of love being taken away from you. Is that acceptance is going to be taken away from you. Sometimes we equate acceptance with love. And the only way to get through that is by loving yourself, which is valuing yourself, prioritizing yourself, using your voice, standing up for yourself, not participating in things that don't bring you delight, standing up for your desires, what you want to see happen for yourself. I hope this helps you guys. I really do. Moonshine says, you won't fear being judged if you step out of ego. And there's a lot of truth to that. But my challenge to that is people who have come through severe trauma, and I've shared this before in a book, by it's called CPTSD, From Surviving to Thriving. He says that the ego actually is needed to help a person on a journey of trauma. So I don't buy a one size fits all on the ego train. I think that there's a lot of validity to that of not having an ego, but I don't think that it's helpful for people who are in traumatic situations. And so typically people who fear being judged have had traumatic situations, which keeps them stuck in this. So in that regards, I don't think that that is helpful. I think that they need their ego for the short time until they can establish a bit of self-worth and confidence for themselves. But yes, essentially the ego is trying to protect them. So in the long run, you're right. But in the short term, my thoughts are getting ahead of my words. In the short term, when people are trying to navigate and work through things, they need that ego to help get them to the next level, to the next place. Juan says, life was easier back in the day. We were always outside, no phones and no internet, not no more. I don't know about you guys. You guys all keep saying that life was easier then. I think I got bullied and picked on without social media. I'm like, maybe the kids I was hanging out with were just rough, but yeah, I remember I would get bullied by boys all the time. I don't know if they just liked me or what, but I'm like, I don't remember things being that easy, but maybe you guys had a different experience than me. Mahara says, love it. You make it seem so easy. I'll try that from now on. Yeah, make them laugh. Bring them into a conversation. If they're intimidated by you, make it seem as if you are approachable. All right, guys, I love you very much, and I'm excited to do another live video with you tomorrow. As I shared, if you have been wanting to do that emotional warrior program, which will really support you in this, make sure that you email me and you will get the 2 30-minute free coaching sessions with me, one to get you started before you do the program, and then I'll email you about your second coaching session. Derek says the 90s was the time when everyone was on the same page. Were they? Okay. All right. I'll take your word for it. Guys, I hope you all had a fantastic 4th of July. Know that in the fear of being judged, that essentially like every single one of us, we have love inside of us, but it does take some readjusting to coming back to that love in ourselves. It comes with the territory of removing the things that block us from receiving love, getting those out of the way so that we can really position ourselves to allow ourselves to be loved by ourselves. And as we do that, we also allow other people to love us. We position ourselves to be able to receive love from others as well. So I love you too, Antonio, Thomas, Stokic. It was easier to me because I live in a small country, Croatia. And you guys had so much nature there. I mean, what's there to fight about when you have all that beautiful nature? Brandon says, who am I? Me. Meher Justice says, we love these live videos. You're like Elvis, really knowing how to connect with your audience on a personal level. Woo! That's a big compliment, Meher. Thank you. Yeah. Honka burn low. Woo! I don't even know if that's Elvis's song. Probably not. Alex says, I love you very much, Angel. See you tomorrow. Be kind. Thank you, Alec. You too, darling. Juan says, this is what I love about Arica. She is straight to the point. No filters. True. Blair Clark says, when I just be myself around my family and friends, I feel like I'm at my best emotionally. Yes. And so the next step out of your comfort zone is to show up with other people that way as well. Bert says, thanks for all the great words. Bert, I don't think I've seen you here before. Have you been here? Thank you for being here. You're so welcome, my darling. Meher's laughing at me. Brandon's laughing at me. Derek says, much love to you always. Glad you were there for me during COVID. Oh, I'm just so glad I got to love on you guys during that period. I'm glad that we were all able to come together. Yes, I will come to Croatia. And yes, I bet there's so much beauty out there. Yes, it is Elvis' son. You need peanut butter and a banana sandwich. Not at you with you. That was adorable. Thank you. Thank you. Guys, I love you so much. I'm excited to do tomorrow's video with you guys. So I hope you'll show up. I hope that this time works for you guys. I know some of you guys, my European guys, that this was really late for you. So thank you for being here. And I will see you guys at this time tomorrow. Sending you so much love. You matter. Your heart matters. And the things you've been through matter. And I want you to understand for yourself how much you matter. I love you very much. Take care, guys.